Don't forget to.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Calvet Employment and Entrepreneurship Resources webinar. We are so excited that you guys are all here today, and we're so excited to be able to give you guys just a whole lot of really great information, really great resources. We have some really wonderful presenters today. Just so you guys know, this webinar is being recorded right now. And by you guys coming on and signing on to the webinar, that gives us permission that you're okay with recording the webinar. And with that being said, I'm going to show you a couple different places later, but we will take this recording of this webinar and we'll put it on our website. And then we'll also put it on the Calvet YouTube channel, where it will live forever. So that way, if you want to circle back to this webinar to get information, you're more than welcome to. With all the slides that you guys are going to see, I'm going to go ahead and post a PDF copy in the chat a little later in the presentation. So that way you guys can have access to these slides. There's going to be a lot of different links and things you guys can click on in the different PowerPoint slides. So you guys will have access to that later. And then with that being said, if you want to go to the next slide, Cherie. With that being said, my coworker Cherie is going to be running the slideshow, and she is going to be placing some really great information in the chat while I'm talking about some of our basic benefits. And then when she's presenting, I'll be running the kind of the back end and putting a lot of great information in the chat. So you guys won't be able to utilize the chat function. But there is a Q&A tab that you guys can click on at any time if you guys have a question. And as those questions are coming in, either Cherie or I will either organize them so we can have someone answer them at the end of the presentation, or if we can answer them, we'll go ahead and answer you right away. And we may still go over that question at the end, because chances are if you're asking the question, most likely someone else is too. So we've got a lot of great stuff on our agenda to talk about. So we're going to go ahead and get going. And then, like I said, if you guys have any questions and answer or questions for us, put them in the Q&A tab and we'll answer them at the end of the webinar, or if we can, we'll answer you directly. All right, next slide. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of go over what our CalTAP team is. And I don't think I introduced myself earlier, but my name is Jana Adams, and I am on the CalTAP team, which is the California Transition Assistance Program team. And I work at Calvet. So we are the California State Department of Veterans Affairs. So we're not the federal side, we're the state side. And with CalTAP, what our role is to give you guys lots of information and be out in the communities. Go ahead and go to the next slide. I want to tell you guys a little bit about what we are. And I normally don't read the slides verbatim, but I kind of want to read this one out. We are designed to inform and connect veterans of all eras to their earned federal and state benefits. So the way we do that is by putting information on our website in our veterans resource book that I'll tell you about in a minute here. We separate all the information into 5 pathways. Core curriculum, we're going to go over some of that information today. That's where all your basic benefits and resources are that you'll need to be accessing quite often. Education, that's where all of your education benefits and information is going to be. Employment, entrepreneurship, we're actually going to go over those pathways today, so you'll get to hear all about them. And then our service providers pathway provides information if you are working with veterans and on different topics like how to work with veterans, how to talk to veterans, different things like that. So all this information is located on our website. If you want to go to the next slide, this is what our website, oh, actually, that's not the next slide, but so this slide, though, is our veterans resource book. I have mine right here. If you guys don't have one, we can send one to you. They're free. What's really great on the back of the resource book, there's an 800 number right here. And that 800 number, if you call that, you can get one of our team members, either myself or another coworker like Cherie, and we'll answer any questions that you guys might have. If you guys have a question that we don't know the answer to, we probably know who to have you call. So give us a call if you need anything at all. Listed in the resource book, it's pretty much like gold. All of your benefits and resources are listed out right in the resource book. It's also all on our website as well. I'm going to show you where that is in a minute. And Cherie is probably putting in a link to the PDF copy, so that way you guys can download this and have one right on your computer. It's also located on our website. So give us a call if you'd like one emailed to you. I'm sorry, not emailed to you. If you'd like one mailed to you. Okay, next slide. So this is our website. Just Google Calvet. Lots of things circled, boxed, underlined in here. You can call us, that 800 number I was telling you guys about, that's circled at the top. The next one is the square. That is the CalTAP webpage. That's where we're going to go to in just a second here. And then if you need to find different resources, like finding your county veteran service office or your CVSO, you can click on that link down there. If you scroll down to the bottom of our website, the box at the bottom appears, and that's where the veterans resource book is. But if you click on where the laptop icon is, where it says CalTAP, go ahead and go to the next slide. This is the web page that we have for CalTAP, where we house all of our information. This is all the pathways. So we're going to start with the core curriculum pathway. If you click on that, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. You're going to see the way we set up our web pages is in a module format. So all the modules have information. So we would click on module 5, which is California benefits. This is where all your benefits are listed. If you want to go ahead and click on that. Or go to the next slide, I mean. So what are my California benefits? And these are some of them. I'm not going to go over all the fun facts about every single benefit, but if one of them piques your interest, you need more information about it, call us or email us. We're more than happy to go over any of these benefits with you in full detail. So the college tuition fee waiver, by far one of the benefits we get the most questions about. This is a benefit set up directly so that your dependents can go to any state-funded school, community college, state school, or UC in California and not have to pay the tuition or the fees. There's specific requirements. The veteran themselves needs to have a disability rating set up. That's either plan A, B, C, or D that you would qualify for. Plan A would state that the veteran has 100% disability rating, and the dependent has to complete all their schooling by age 26 and can have a full-time job. Plan B states that the veteran can have any disability rating, so 0% to 100% or anywhere in between. The dependent has no age limitation, so they can go to school until they're done. However, they can't have a full-time job. They can only be bringing in what's considered the national poverty level, or just about over $1,000 a month or so. So if you have more questions on the college tuition fee waiver, please reach back to us. We are more than happy to talk about it. Also, all the information can be found in the Veterans Resource Book or on our website. We partner with different departments, such as the DMV, to do different things like putting the word veteran listed right on your driver's license. This is great. You don't have to carry your 214 around with you. There's also a motor vehicle registration fee waiver if you have a 100% disability rating, and also the disability that you have is a mobility issue. Then you are able to get the registration fee waived on one of your vehicles. If you have any questions on that, call us. We can go over that with you. Next slide, please. Just a couple other benefits. If you guys are into outdoor stuff, you can get reduced fishing and hunting licenses and a no-cost state park pass. Cherie's putting in lots of links right now, information directly how you can sign up for that. Also, the information is on our website. It's also in our resource book. There are also different kinds of tax and fee exemptions. A disabled veteran property tax exemption, that means money off of your property tax. Really great thing. We ask that you do a little bit of research on that. You want to contact your county assessor's office, talk to them about what your property taxes are. If you have questions on that, call us. We can help you with that too. Then there's the business license tax and fee exemption. We're going to talk a little bit more about that stuff with entrepreneurship, but there are different exemptions that you guys can sign up for. All right, next slide, please. Okay, Calvet, within Calvet, we have different divisions, and we are all here to help all of you, because we know that the resources and benefits that you guys need today are going to be different than what you guys are going to need in 2 years, in 5 years, in 25 years. So we want to let you know that we're here for you every step of the way. We've got lots of great divisions full of lots of really great people who are able to give out resources. The CalTAP team, which is where Cherie and myself fall under, We work in the Veteran Services Division. We're on an outreach team, so we're going to lots of college campuses. We're doing webinars online, obviously, and then we're also going to DoD installations, and we are making these presentations on the different benefits and resources that veterans and their dependents are able to access, and then how to access them. CalVet has their own home loans division. So there is the federal VA home loan, but there's also a CalVet home loan. It's a great program. You can use both of the loans together. So the VA home loan and the CalVet one together. So two benefits. We have a gentleman, his name is Brad. He encourages us to give out his cell phone number so that way you can talk to him about your personal situation and see what works best for you qualifying wise, and how we could get you into the CalVet home loan. So if you're at all interested in buying a home in the future, maybe you've already started the process, look up our CalVet home loan either on our website, in the resource book, or call and talk to Brad. He can answer any questions for you. Okay, CalVet also has a women's division and a minority and underrepresented veterans division. These are wonderful divisions. You can actually go to the CalVet website and go to the web pages for women's or minorities, and you can sign up on their rosters with your email address. That way you can get information sent directly to you on kind of what's going on, different events, different laws or bills are passed, things like that. You'll get the information sent to you. CalVet also wants to think, longevity, big picture. We have homes for long-term care. You do have to be 55 or older to be living in them, or if you have a disability that prevents you from doing things, sometimes there's an exception on that. But our homes for long-term care are scattered all over California, and they offer care from independent living all the way up to, memory care, needing someone helping you out 24 hours a day. It's there for you. All the information is on our website. There are wait lists and things, applications you have to apply for. So make sure you check it out. Call us. We can go over any questions about those as well. And then CalVet also has state cemeteries that we run too. So along with the national cemeteries in California, there are 3 state cemeteries, and there should be a 4th one that will become available here probably in the next year or two. I believe, or we'll have more information the next year or two on it. Like I said, probably not something you're thinking of right now, but it is out there for you. If you have any questions on that, definitely reach back out to us. Next slide, please. All right, lots of ways that you can keep in contact with us. Email us at caltap@calvet.ca.gov. Someone from the CalTAP team, like Cherie or myself, is checking that daily and will respond back. You can contact us on social media, lots of QR codes on this page. We've got Facebook and Instagram. Follow us on social media. We post all kinds of things on there. The CalVet YouTube channel is really awesome. It is going to house all of these recorded webinars that we have, so that way you can access this information 24 hours a day. And then the other QR code up at the top left is the CalVet website. You can also attend webinars. We're going to show you a QR code a little later that you can sign up on our Eventbrite page. And then also we'll tell you some upcoming webinars at the end of this presentation. The other QR code is to fill out today's survey. You guys will get it sent to you a little later today too, but if you can fill that out, that definitely helps us out. We want to know your opinions on our webinars, how to make them better, and what we're doing well also. And then you can also sign up for something that we like to call My CalVet. If you want to go to the next slide. The My CalVet is just a way to navigate through and personalize the CalVet website to what your needs are. So at any web page you go to on the CalVet website, you see what's circled there. It says My CalVet. You can log in or register. They'll ask you a bunch of questions. It'll tailor the website to you and what your needs are when you sign in. If you go to the next website, or I'm sorry, the next screen, or slide, sorry about that. By signing up on My CalVet, you'll get this weekly email, and sometimes we'll do a newsletter quarterly, sometimes it's monthly, just depending on what's going on. But this weekly email is going to tell you all the different webinars that are coming up and some different really great resources for you. So you'll get that weekly. Next slide, please. All right, here's my contact information. You're going to see it a couple more times today. If you have any questions at all, please give us a call. We also put the Veterans Crisis Line information on all of our contact pages. You just dial 988 and then press 1. You never know when either you're going to maybe need something, or maybe you're with someone and they need to access the Veterans Crisis Line. So We like to have that on all of our contact pages. But if you want to go to the next slide, we're going to turn things over to our local interagency network coordinator. His name is Calvin, and he is going to talk to you guys about everything that he does resource-wise for you. So whenever you're ready, Calvin.
Great. Thanks, Jenna. Appreciate it.
Of course.
As Jenna said, my name is Calvin Angel. I am the local interagency network coordinator for Central Coast, California. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, the state is divided into 8 sections, not so equal, but 8 different areas. So I have 7 counterparts throughout the state of California. And so you can reach into any of us anywhere in the state. So if you're moving throughout the state or plans of moving or wherever you're located, you'll be able to find one of us that will be able to assist you in regards to connecting to your benefits, local resources that you may want to get in contact with. That is our job. We are subject experts in regards to resources in our respective areas. Next slide, please. So links, as I mentioned earlier, so we provide outreach to service members, their families, and other veterans. And of course, we make referrals directly to these resources and networks. We assist with local emergencies, and I'll elaborate a little on that. That comes in the form of us showing up at local emergency sites that you might refer to as FEMA sites or something along those lines. We are mandated to be in most of those sites. So if there's an emergency of any of those kinds, for example, these torrential rains that we had recently here in California, there were quite a few sites that came in, and we were in all of those. So if you're a veteran, you can, take a little comfort in knowing that you will be taken care of in these sites. We specifically have people there to obviously help veterans. So I personally worked in 4 of those this year. So we take care of our veterans in these locations, as we try in others as well. Provide leadership and advocacy. Well, that comes in many forms. Typically, in the community, we're engaged with various organizations as well as collaboratives that come up in some of these communities. So you'll see us there as well. That's something that I actually enjoyed taking part in, because the reality is that's one way of getting on a personal level with so many resources, and that also allows me to be able to pass on that connection and that contact to you if you should need it. Next slide, please. Connecting the benefits. A large part of my job is indeed that, just making sure that veterans know what they're entitled to, how to connect with that organization in order to get that. Here it mentions employment and training, specifically the EDD department. American Job Center is usually where they're located. So I have those connections for you if you should need those in my area. California State Benefits, obviously, that is a large part of what we do, is just making you aware of what we offer. Hopefully you'll have access to the California Veterans Resource Book, and they may even put a link in there for you to get the electronic version of it. But that's something that you'll see in your community quite a bit. We do take a lot of pride in putting that out, and I think we have another version coming out very soon. So, and then of course, healthcare, again, just another resource that I would have access to for you if you need a what I would call a warm handoff. Okay, next slide, please. So here is my contact information. If you're in my area, one of the counties that you saw earlier, that would be Santa Cruz, Monterey, San Benito, San Luis Obispo, or Santa Barbara. Yes, I have a pretty large area and very scenic. I wish I could see more of it, typically in the meetings. But nevertheless, there's my information, and I believe the map will be made available for you as well. So you have an opportunity to contact my counterparts if you're in their areas as well. So thank you for your time, Jen. I'll give it back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Calvin. I appreciate that. I'm actually going to turn things over to Cherie now whenever you are ready.
I am having a trouble like returning my camera on. So give me just a second,
Oh,
everyone.
that's
Sorry about
okay.
that. All
While
right, but
she's doing,
nonetheless,
oh, go ahead.
while I'm still doing that, I will get started before I can get my camera on. But hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Cherie Nuez, and I am a training coordinator alongside Jana. It's my pleasure to speak to you all today in regards to the employment landscape here in California. And then a little bit later, I'll be talking about entrepreneurship resources. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, as Jana mentioned earlier, this is a landing page for CalTAP. We're going to explore the employment pathway. These are the 5 pathways here on your page, but we're going to go ahead and dive deeper into the employment pathways and what resources lie there. So as you can see here, we have several different modules ranging from personal appraisal all the way through apprenticeship and OJT or on-the-job training. We have a lot of great resources, training modules, and guides for you to review. And we're kind of going to do a sweeping review of everything that's within this content. So the California labor market, just to give everyone a big picture as to what's going on here in California, these are projections that were obtained back in 2022. But just to give you an idea as to what kind of industries are kind of rising here in California, you can kind of see the highest peak points of trade, transportation, and utilities. You also have professional business services, educational, hospitality, and government. So something to think of as you are thinking about applying is think long term. The higher the rank, the more you need to the more you may need to make adjustments. What that means is essentially understanding your platform as you exit the service and what that means in the civilian world. Understanding the various roles that are available and the types of businesses or sectors that you're going to be participating in, how that's going to affect your position or rank or pay for that matter. In addition to that, consider the competitiveness in your market. So how are the businesses that you're seeking to apply to, how are they excelling? What type of candidate are they looking for? And the next point, which is leave relocation on the side. Are you a movable individual? Are you able to move about California or move about the country in regards to the position? I know in light of the pandemic, a lot of the positions have gone to telework. Is that something that you'd be able to do and have the bandwidth for? But lastly, and most importantly, don't get discouraged. You will definitely find your place. There's a lot of great opportunities here in California, up and down the coast, for you to find opportunity to grow and thrive here. So something to think about, or some things to think about as you are preparing to apply. Feel free to take a picture of this. I know Jan is also going to be dropping, already dropped a PDF of this in the chat as far as the presentation goes, but create a master resume. For those of you that may or may not know what that is, a master resume is all encompassing of all the jobs and the descriptions of those jobs, dates, and references that you may have held in the past. So that means if you're a volunteer position, or even if you're part of a council or a focus group, that would be something that you would want to put on a master resume. A target resume, to pivot, targets the application that or position that you are seeking to apply to. So you'd want to create a target resume that appeals to that specific position. Perfect segue into the next thing is match terminology. Something to think about is adjusting the positions that you may have had in the veteran or in your during your time of service, and how those terms translate into the civilian world. So you would want to adjust that language so you match keywords in the job description. And the next thing is keep ready the list of references that you may have, and make sure that they're in the know that you're applying for a position, so that you are readily available to talk, or when you're suited for that. Here I am. The next thing would be find out if the company or agency offers veteran points or preference. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that means, but it's important to know to do your research on the company or agency that you're seeking to apply to. And then, as I mentioned there, identify and prepare your professional references. So in the event that you do interview and say you make it to the next selection, which is a background reference, or they need to speak to your references, they are prepared and understand the position that you are seeking so they can best speak to your best attributes. So next, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into state and federal employment. So we're going to go to federal employment, which is how does the application process work? Essentially, you are going to go on to USA Jobs. This is the federal kind of like housing of all the different jobs across the United States. You'd want to create your account and search for jobs here. You can review your announcement. You'll be able to prepare and knock off anything that you have on a checklist as far as the types of things that you need to have submitted and or take any kind of qualifying tests. Agency would review your application, you would interview, agency would select a candidate, and then you'd ultimately have a job offer. Something important to note is getting veteran preference for a federal position. Where you would go and how you would do that is you would want to go to feds.gov. This is a part of the U.S. Department of Personnel Management. It's a very quick and easy personnel question, and it's more or less of a rating as far as your own time of service and what you did in your career. That translates to different points based on the veteran's preference. It's important to note what veteran preference means that you get essentially a leg up. You get moved to the top of all of the general civilian applicants. It's not necessarily a guarantee that you're going to get the position, but it does give you a crucial advantage because as you have had a successful service career, a lot of those skills transfer over so you can be best suited for that position. Some helpful resources for everyone we'd like to review with all is how to write a federal resume. It is the first link that I have there. It's very comprehensive. Majority of the time, you're going to be probably composing something that's 6 to 7 pages long. It's very robust with the type of information that they ask you. So it gives you the specifics on what format and what layout and what specific information they are seeking for you to provide. There's also Career One Stop, the Resume Engine, Military Skills Translator, and VNet. Basically, all great tools for you to be able to translate any of your service during your time of service and or even in your time in the civilian world and how it can be applicable to the position that you are seeking on the federal side. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into state employment. So why work for the state? First and foremost, you can work with the likes of myself, Jana, or Calvin. We are the largest employer in California. There's over 150 agencies and state departments with multiple geographic locations. So as Calvin actually mentioned earlier, his section is a little bit more on the coast side and coastal southern side, but he has 7 different counterparts that cover the rest of California. Although they are 8 strong that covers the whole California. So it just goes to show how versatile your position could be should you find a position that allows you that kind of outreach and travel. Not to mention we have a great salary and benefits package and we have great stability. Some additional benefits for you to think about is the CalPORS pension plan and the Savings Plus plan. Essentially, those are things to set you up for when you retire, and you can also add more money into that. Comprehensive, great health, dental, and vision. We have the great EAP or the Employee Assistance Programs that assists you on a holistic level, looks at you as an individual. So if you need any kind of therapy or even physical therapy, there's some programs that are out there for you. And also naturally, there's paid training, holidays, sick leave, vacation, and military leave. Something to note though for the military is they have within California the Wounded Warriors Transitional Leave Act. Essentially, this is a component of sick leave. However, it does not count against your sick time leave. It grants you, as if you are to become a state employee, 96 hours of sick leave to be used for the treatment of a service connected disability. It's important to note that the service connected rating should be at 30% or more, but it does allow you time so that you can continue to recover and rehabilitate as you go into a new position. So, how to get started? Essentially, this is where you're going to go for the state job. So, you're going to go to jobs.ca.gov and you're going to apply on CalCareers. You would definitely apply for veterans preference. It's similar to the federal side. However, the state preference, again, it's you have to apply on our webpage. The federal application does not carry over to the state. So that's great to, very important to know. Search for career opportunities, take and pass an assessment or exam, and then naturally apply for positions and participate in a hiring interview. So this is what the CalCareers account looks like. This is the webpage that I had just mentioned, and Jana had just dropped it in the chat. Thank you. So jobs.ca.gov, and this is the webpage you would go to. You'd want to create an account. On the top right corner there, as you could see, and then you would log in. Important to note, there is a veterans tab here, specific for veterans, and information there for you. I have a slide for that a little bit later, so we'll go over that just shortly. So we're going to do the first one, which is if you're to log into your account and what it looks like. This is your dashboard. This is what it's going to look like when you log into CalCareers, and how you're going to navigate everything. Yes, your information would appear in the name, email address, and phone number. It's very important that you keep all that information current and pertinent. Because if your information is on there and say you are a candidate that you're seeking, they could easily contact you through the information provided here. So make sure that all the aspects of contact, specifically email and phone, are current so they can get a hold of you. Addition to that, you have application templates. You can upload your documents. So if you have a specific resume that you would like to use, you have a reference sheet, you even have a cover letter, any of those aspects, you could have it on there. So when you see a job opening that appeals to you, you don't have to be hunting through your laptop or your computer, finding out which folder you had just saved everything on. So it's great that you can upload it here. You can even filter out your job requests, or not job requests, but job postings. If there's a specific position or even agency that is hiring, you can get alerts from when they post things. You can all do that from this from this page here. So search for vacancies. This is exactly where you'd want to go as far as what I've mentioned, to looking for everything for your position. You could either search by job code, you could search for a keyword, you can even search regionally. So if you specifically want to search for jobs in Northern California or Southern California, you can do that here. So say you have this filtered out and you're ready to submit your search. This is the next page appears, which will provide you information on the positions that are available. It'll also show when the position was published, so when it was released to the public, and the filing deadline. Very important for you to note the filing deadline. If you attempt to submit after that, they will not accept it. So make sure that you pay attention to the publish date and the filing deadline. Some things important to note, as you can see, there's a lot of different terminologies on here. You have the top there, Associate Governmental Program Analyst. That is actually what my title is. I am an AJPA. However, my working title, along with Janice, is a training coordinator. So just to let you know, there's different classifications that you can be a part of, but the diverse field of the working titles is used throughout all the different agencies differently. So say you like the job and you're like, oh, this is for me. I want to go ahead and participate and, potentially put myself out there as a candidate. You'd want to review the job code or the job posting, which would give you a comprehensive look on the state agency that it's for, B, the job description and the detail, the duties, and then also would give you the details of what you need to submit with your application. For the duty statement, this is what it's going to look like. It is going to give you an overview of the different positions and the percentages of responsibilities. Now, it won't necessarily probably list the finite details of your day to day. It is going to give you the biggest picture and snapshot of what the expectations are for this specific job. So, say you're like, this is it, this is for me, I'm going to apply. You're going to hit next and you're going to hit apply for the job. But you need to make sure that you have eligibility. And what does that mean? That means you search and take an examination. You're probably like, taking an exam? What is this about? Fear not, it is not an exam. It is more or less an assessment. But before I get there, you have to take an exam or an assessment based on education level. So as you can see here, there's a fine layout of the different opportunities that are out there based on education. So whether you have a high school graduation or less than, or even a bachelor's, 2-year or high school grad, there's a position for you with the state. The reason being they have you take it by education is because there's different classifications that you can apply for based on your education level. Now, as you get higher or you obtain state experience, you can begin to take other tests as your experience can compensate for education. So it's important to note that that you can do that. So essentially, what is an exam? It is a process to evaluate your education, experience, knowledge, skills, and abilities. Fairly straightforward, and there's no time limit as far as what I know from my experience for you to completing the exam. And there's contact information for any of the varying exams that you may need to take for a position, and you can contact the person assigned to that should you have any questions prior to taking it. So as I mentioned earlier, to review veterans preference for the state, veteran preference, as it says right there, is an assistance program for military benefits who seek employment with the state. You would need your DD 214 and also your veterans preference application form, which is the form listed right there. However, if you do have any questions or need assistance with that, there is a phone number listed there at the bottom for you should you need assistance. An important component of part of the application process is the statement of qualifications. All positions, to my knowledge, requires you to complete an SOQ or statement of qualification. This is very detailed. Where you're going to find this is on that main page, as I have showed you before, which is this page right here. At the very bottom of it, it will list the SOQ and the types of requirements that are for there. And when I say finite details, I mean they're paying attention to the font that you use, the size of that font, and even the margins that you utilize. Because in the fact of that matter, what they're looking for is that you're paying attention to the details and the little details, because that matters. So say you're trying to submit an application and they request your SOQ to be in Arial font, but you submit in Times New Roman, they will automatically go to the next candidate. So it is important to read everything thoroughly in all the job postings so that you know what's required of you and of the style that like whatever you're submitting, the style and format that you need to submit it in. And then as it mentions there, if required, the instructions will be listed in the job bulletin, and it'll be detailed as to how you need to submit that question in the SOQ. There's also, again, additionally, a contact person. So should you have any questions on the composition of the SOQ, highly suggest you to reach out to that individual so you can get clarification so that you can be the best candidate for that. As I mentioned also before, I was going to review the Cal Careers Veteran Resources. As you can see here, this is what it looks like when you click that Veterans tab on the resources that are provided there for you. So you have Veterans Information, the Military Skills Translator, and also Executive Jobs. For those of you if you are higher ranking, there are positions that are open within the state that you potentially could apply for. There is a specific method in which you're supposed to apply for that. You could explore that with the executive job tab there. So next, you are well on your way. You're preparing for your hiring interview. What do you do? So what you would want to do is study the job announcement and the duty statement. Review that website for the department. And even if you are specifically getting hired for a unit and you know what unit it is and they have information provided about that unit online, research it. Write down some high level points that appeal to you, or how is it that you as a candidate can appeal to that or be supportive. Relate your experience and knowledge to the essential duties and qualifications, and then also read all the application instructions. The reason being is you can actually deduce some questions from that. You can siphon out some things that you would want to ask during an interview. Because as you may or may know, for those of you that may or may not have participated in an interview, traditionally at the end of an interview, they ask, do you have any questions? If it is an individual or a panel. I always like to suggest when you go into an interview, bring 3 questions. It could be, where do you see this position in 5 years? Or where do you see this department in a year? Or what is your greatest expectation or challenge out of this position? It's all wonderful things that you show the person that you're interviewing your commitment to the position, and that you're seeking more information from them, so that you know that you want to be the best candidate on what you can bring to the table. So in summary, just to review everything on a high level here, create that master resume and target resume, conduct that comprehensive research and job research and search. Online presence. I didn't mention this earlier, but as you all may have know, we're in a virtual world as far as what we're out there, and on this webinar for that matter. So think about online platforms. We have a couple of them are LinkedIn, Indeed, or Glassdoor. There's a bunch that are out there as far as opportunities for you to be able to read and review positions that are open and available, and also reviews on the company or the department, so you know what you're getting into. Again, as I mentioned, apply for veterans preference so you can get that advantage. Take any necessary exams, apply for that job vacancy. You are a fine candidate, as you are bringing so many transferable skills to the table. Apply for that job. And then naturally participate in a hiring interview. And then finally, follow-up techniques. Whoever you may be interviewing with, thank them for their time. So it just goes to show that you are still pertinent in their shuffle of candidates, that you are still going to be at the top there. Show them your interest. Some great resources here for you. We have USA Jobs, Feds Hire Vets, CalHR, EDD, and jobs.ca.gov. And then lastly, Career One Stop. So without further ado, I'm actually going to briefly shift gears here and invite Jana to come back on to help me out with some information for Work for Warriors.
All right, thank you. And I was just, I'm just posting in the chat all those links that Cherie just mentioned. I'm putting them in there right now, so you guys have that. So I've been, as Cherie was talking about employment stuff, I was kind of going through some of the Q&A tab questions and answering some of your guys' questions. And as I've answered them, then any of you guys as attendees can then now have access to read them. So some of the questions included just like wanting the links and everything that we've been mentioning today. So I'm going to post all of that stuff after I talk about the Work for Warriors information. And with that said, Work for Warriors, if you guys have not heard of them, they are it's basically a staffing agency that that wants to help veterans and their family members find employment. Whether you're looking for a very large company to work for, a big position, or a small part-time position because you've got stuff going on in your life, school, family, whatever the case may be. They're there to help you all. If you can go to the next slide, please. And typically we'll have a Work for Warriors representative come travel with us or come on our webinars with us. So that way they can talk to you guys all about their company and kind of give you a rundown on what they can do, because not only are they helping you get into your next position or your next job, and finding you a career, but they can do all kinds of other things too. So helping you write your resume and just different tips and tricks on that, which is so important. And then interview prep. That's always really great. Any kind of interview prep is really great. And I mean, interviewing a lot with lots of different jobs is always really a good thing, because the more experience you have with interviewing, the more comfortable you're going to be, the easier you can answer. So it's always good to have lots of interview prep and practice and experience. The Work for Warriors teams, basically they link up with a ton of different companies out there, and they create these relationships. And then when these companies need to hire people in different positions, they go to the staffing companies and say, okay, I need someone in this kind of a position. Do you have anybody for me? Yes, I actually have, I've got someone that'd be great for you. Let me get them in an interview for you so you can interview them. So Work for Warriors will get you ready for the interview. They will give you all the resources that you need. They'll help you prep for it. They'll help you with your resume. They're not going to write your resume for you, but what's really great is they'll teach you how to write a resume and then go over it with you, so that way you know how to do it. They work with lots of different great companies and like for hiring events and different things like that. So really great company if you are in need of finding a job. And there was one person had a question. I was half in the middle of answering and realized I needed to jump on, but I believe you live out of town, maybe in Florida, and you are wondering about looking for a job. Contact Work for Warriors. Their last screen is going to have their contact information. So contact them, and I'll add that in your answer too. Go ahead and go to the next slide for me, Sheree. Thank you. These are all of their social medias. They're everywhere. Of course, they have their own website, Work for Warriors. You can just Google them, but they are also on LinkedIn and Facebook. That's a combination of the two. They are on Twitter, all the things, so you can follow them along. They're going to have all their job announcements, different events that they're going to, so different hiring career fairs, things like that. So check them out on their socials. Next slide, please. And then this is their contact information. You can do the QR code right on your phone right now, and it gets you right to their website. You can dial that number. I know the 916 is a Sacramento-based number, but they are national. So they're in a lot of different states, lots of different cities in a lot of different states. And they're always moving around, so they can help anyone from anywhere. When you go to their website or when you email them, you're going to see different job postings. If you click on one of the job postings that's on their website and it says like apply now, when you're applying, you're not applying to the company. What actually happens is you're basically applying to Work for Warriors. Work for Warriors sees, oh, they're interested in this job with this company. So someone from Work for Warriors will contact you. Their goal is always, 24 to 48 business hours, of course. But they contact you right away and say, it looks like you're interested in this job with this company. Okay, I'm looking at your resume. Let's get you started. They want to do interviews, then whatever. So they'll walk you through all of that. So you're not applying to the company. You're going to be working directly with a Work for Warriors employee. So, and they're all really great. So give them a call, check them out. If you have any other questions for them or about them, you can reach out to us too. But I think that was the last slide. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to Sheree now, and she has some more really great information for you.
Yep, back to me. Thank you, Jana. I just want to be cognizant of time right now, and I apologize for everyone. We're running a little bit behind schedule. It is 10:50 a.m., but we're going to push through here. We still have a great person from VIB joining us, David. But I'm going to quickly get through this for all our entrepreneurs on the call today or on this webinar. So I appreciate everyone's time today, first and foremost. So again, Veteran Business, just to let everybody know what's going on here. So we have 1.9 million veteran-owned businesses in the U.S. This data is presented from the Census Bureau and the SBA. As of 2018, they generate, of those 1.9 million veteran-owned businesses, they generate approximately 1.3 trillion in sales and employ just a little over 5 million employees. In addition to that, this slide highlights the diverse sectors of business that veterans are succeeding in business ownership. So notable ones: professional services, construction, retail, trade, and healthcare. So how do I start my business? This is the quick 5-step plan. This is not the plan. This is just a quick start plan. There are some great resources that I will be offering and sharing with you, and organizations that can assist you in starting your business. But this is the quick start. First and foremost, develop that solid business plan. Know what you're wanting to provide, what good or service, and what your bandwidth is going to be, as far as how big or small of a company you are going to be. Decide where you're going to locate your business. Choose that business structure, file your tax and employer information, and obtain, of course, your license and necessary permits. I am going to go over 2 different certifications, one being the state and the other one being federal, and the opportunities that lie in both. So when you think about doing business or procuring with the state or federal government, there are 2 questions to ask yourself. And that's the reason why you would want or need a state or federal certification. What is your bandwidth? So can you provide on a level to a big department or agency that encompasses all of California? Or do you want to be a subcontractor within that, which would require you to be certified as well? And lastly, what good or service do you provide? And is that something that a large corporation or government agency would want to purchase? So to clarify what types of certification, it's not just called the state certification or federal certification. On the state side, it is the Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise, or DVBE. We also highly suggest you getting the SB certification, and you can apply for it simultaneous. The reason being is there's only one additional caveat that you need to provide to obtain the DVBE, and if you get both certifications on the state side, it allows you more contract opportunities with both certifications. I'll review in the next one, or the next few slides, the benefits and also requirements. And then on the federal side, it's the SDVOSB, which is the Service Disabled Veteran Owned Small Business Certification. So sort of some of the program benefits here, just to let you know, is 3% on both sides are the contract solicitation goals. So there's a goal for California and a goal on the federal side that they are seeking to work with 3% of their contracts are to small businesses or veteran-owned businesses. For the California side, it's important to note there are multiple awarding agencies. So for example, it could be Caltrans. They might be looking for someone to clear out, say, a roadway, or have someone come through and do some fence work. That could be an opportunity for you. I'm not saying you'll find it right immediately, but you very well could. And those are the types of contracts that are out there. Company is registered on Cali Procure. This is essentially your business profile. It is going to be how departments or awarding agencies look for you. It's a non-competitive bid, and there is the reciprocity program on the California side. So what is a reciprocity partner, or what is the program all about? Essentially what that is it's a city or county or agency that honors the state certification, and it accepts it into their own individual business enterprise programs. So some of the people to consider if you're looking to do business with a specific certification under the reciprocity program, you could be easily doing business with the UC system. And yes, that means the entirety of the University of California system. SMUD is a part of it too, AT&T, Comcast, PG&E, and more. So it's a really great way or avenue for you to be able to partner with other big companies and also awarding departments that will look for you in our Cal eProcure search area, and also show that you're certified. Now, on the federal side, just to let you know, there are set aside contract programs, competitive and sole source. Their management system is SAM, as far as where you're going to get registered and where your profile will be. And also they do provide a non-competitive bid. So some of the eligibility requirements on the state side, has to be 51% owned and controlled by a veteran with a service-connected disability rating of 10%. So that's the minimum. Important to note, any LLC must be owned wholly by one or more disabled veterans. So that means that they have to fit within the criteria of the above said item. Lastly, the veteran or the owner must be domiciled here in California. So that means you must physically reside here in California. On the federal side, just to let you know, for the federal certification, your business needs to be owned by at least 51% and controlled by a veteran with a service-connected disability rating of 0 to 100%. So it's important to know that. So federal side is 0 to 100, state side's at least 10. The business all must qualify under the SBA small business standards for their particular industry on the federal side. So just quick overview on some small business resources. As I've been mentioning over and over again, Cali Procure, this is when you procure with the state. The Department of General Services is the state certifying agency, and you'll need to obtain certification from them. How you apply is you go on to Cali Procure to get certified. Where that red circle is, there is an abundance of great material and resources and guides, and also a YouTube video on how to get certified. This is just a brief overview on the types of requirements for you to get DVBE certified. It's important to note that for new firms, so if you're a new small business, no tax return is requested. However, if you are a new DVBE, they ask that the qualifying disabled, service-connected disabled veteran that is registering as the owner provides the newest or latest personal tax return. Important to know, online submission is the fastest way. Highly suggest not doing this, the mail submit. It is still an option, but it would highly encourage you to do the online submission. Just these are more benefits for state certification to review for you. You can review this whole list on the DGS procurement website, which I will go through a little bit later, but I want to be able to get to David, so I'm going to quickly go through this. More DVB resources. CalVet actually serves as the state advocate for all DVBs across the state of California. And almost every agency and department within the state of California has a SB or DVB advocate. CalVet does have an internal advocate that handles just procurement for within our department. However, CalVet just serves as the overarching advocate for DVBEs. A part of the resources, we have a DVB Advisory Council, which provides California's DVBE community with a dedicated forum to advise our secretary on program improvements to support veterans. In addition to that, they have a great component called the DVBE Request for Response. So this allows people from the DVB community, small businesses, state advocates, contractors, veterans, and the general public to request information regarding the state program. So you can always reach out to them. Their email and also the webpage is provided here on this page. Another great resources for small businesses is DGS, or the Department of General Services. As I mentioned earlier, they are the certifying agency. So that within the procurement division of DGS, they have the Office of Small Business and DVBE Service, or OSDS, and this is who you would want to apply or appeal to in regards to your certification. They have a great 3-part webinar series, one being how to do business with the state of California. It basically holds your hand through the whole process of how do you get certified. 2 and 3 is essentially, now that you're certified, how do you grow your business? How do you get that contract? How do you continue to grow? They also have the SBDVB Emergency Registry. What that means is if you are a small business and you are readily available, meaning within 24 hours, you can be dispatched to help and assist for a specific contract, they can immediately solicit to you in regards for assistance. What that means is if there's a state of emergency, and say hypothetically within the fires, they need a water truck, you own a water trucking business, they could easily contact you and say, hey, I need 5 trucks. Can you head out this way? The caveat is you have to be readily available within 24 hours to be a part of this registry. So as I noted in the beginning, understanding your bandwidth, so your business's availability and your ability to meet those expectations. So think about those things. But again, these are all great opportunities for you. Some other great resources that I mentioned earlier, Cali Procure, they have 4 different quadrants. Just to re-review for you, you have how to sell the state, get certified. You can find public procurement information on there. And again, more training and resources for you. The Secretary of State's office, the programs division, it's the largest division within the Secretary of State. It supports businesses by registering business entities and trademarks and enabling secured creditors to protect their financial interests. The Business Programs Division processes millions of business filings and information requests each year. We have GoBiz, which is the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. They can assist you with site selection, permit assistance, and small business assistance. In addition to that, we're going to dive a little deeper into GoBiz. They have a wonderful office called the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. So Cal OSBA supports economic growth and innovation and ensures that all California small businesses and startups have the information and direct support that they need to navigate resources, programs, and regulations. They also house Cal Gold. And what this is a website that assists you in finding appropriate permit information for your business. It also provides you contact information for various agencies that administer and issue those permits. You also have the California Grants Portal, which houses an abundant amount of grants. It is a project by the California State Library, and it is your one destination to find all grants and loans offered on a competitive or first-come basis by California state agencies. This specific webpage or search engine is updated constantly because as money is available within these grants, those opportunities open, close all the time. So it's important to periodically check this. So if there is a grant that may apply to you, you can apply for you're readily available to apply for it. But that's not to say don't get discouraged either when you're on there. Say, oh, I just missed the deadline for this. That's not to say in the next week or even the next day, another grant will pop up. So great resource for you. We're gonna pivot real quick, go over federal small business resources, and then I'll kick it over to David. But some quick first federal small business resources, how to get certified with the federal government. As I mentioned before, you want to go onto sam.gov. It is a self-verification process. It's fairly straightforward. A lot of the information that is requested of you is similar to the state certification. But moving to this page here, there's a guide and it'll provide you with what information you need to collect and gather prior to you submitting everything. It is important to note that as you register on this webpage, it is also going to serve as your profile within the federal government. So again, keep your information there current for your company. Keep it appealing as people and awarding agencies within the federal government are searching for partners or small businesses. They can locate you and they can understand what goods or services your specific business provides. More great resources is for support for federal small business, but this also goes to, I'm going to go ahead and say that these organizations or groups that I'm going to be reviewing, they assist with state buying as well. So don't think that just because I'm mentioning them in the federal small business resource side, that it's just for federal. They do assist on the state level as well. So the SBA is a great resource. You also have SBDC or the Small Business Development Centers. They are located throughout the United States. So you can look within your region, you can look within your county, you can look even in your city as far as where your nearest one is. They provide critical funding and oversight, and they also allow small business growth and mentorship. Another one would be VBOC or the Veteran Business Outreach Centers. There are 2 offices in California, Northern California and Southern California. They have a phenomenal Boots to Business program. It is an entrepreneurial education and training program in which the VBOCs are partnered with the SBA. It provides participants with an overview of business ownership and is open to transitioning service members, which includes National Guard and Reserve and their spouses, that specific program, Boots to Business. There's also SCORE, which is a great mentorship program for everyone. It's open to veterans and members of the general public. They've provided education and mentorship to over 11 million entrepreneurs. So wonderful resource for all business owners, small business owners. And then lastly, we have the Procurement Technical Assistance Center or PTACs. They assist on the contracting side. So they assist you with how to compete successfully in a government marketplace. So on the state level and the federal level, they assist you with how do you compose the best bid for contracts. And some non-government based resources. These are some great organizations and alliances and networks for you to be a part of so that you can understand your fellow business owners that are out there and who you can outreach and network with. So we have the U.S. Veteran Business Alliance, we have the Elite SDVOP Network, and then also Veterans and Business Network. They all provide various different business networking opportunities, resources, and training. So that is it for me for both the employment and entrepreneurship section. This is my contact information here. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. And if there's anything that you missed, we dropped it in the chat, or you can always revisit this particular webinar on YouTube or on our socials. Without further ado, and I greatly appreciate his patience and presence here on this webinar, I'm going to go ahead and introduce David Ramil from VIB. Thank you, David, so much for joining us, and I greatly appreciate your patience. He's going to be presenting some great resources and tell us all about the VIB network.
Thank you. Thank you everyone in CalVet for putting this together. Thank you for your service for all the veterans here. I want to congratulate all of you for taking, if this is your first step in transitioning out of uniform into the civilian sector. Congratulations. If you've already started and you're kind of in the middle or the end of it and you're just looking for information, again, congratulations on continuing your efforts to come over. I'm going to be talking, I'll try to be fast because I know we're short on time. I'm going to be talking more about the entrepreneurship side of the house. There was a lot of information that was just presented to you, and a lot of great information. And there was a part of a checklist before I really dive into this, where it talks about the 5 different things, know your business plan, know all that. I would also add to probably the very first bullet is to really look at yourself and say, and figure out, is this something you really want to do? Before we dive into this, and this is why the VIB network is a pretty cool organization, is because we can have candid conversations like this. So like I said, that rule 1, that very first one, is to really dive deep in yourself and see if this is something you actually want to do, because starting, running and owning a company is probably going to be one of the toughest things you've ever done. And I know some of you here are some combat vets and proven operators and all that great things that that wearing the uniform provides us. But this is a whole other ballgame. So again, a lot of great information. Please use those tools that have been presented, because there is a lot going into it. Quick introduction, I'm David Ramil. I am the ambassador for the northern part of California for the Veterans and Business Network. I was 10 years active duty in the United States Air Force Fire Department from 97 to 07. And the rest of it's been reserves from that time. So a little more than 25 plus years wearing the uniform. So I have some experience. So I'll put my email in the chat, or if it's going to be on here, feel free to reach out, ask any questions. Again, we're going to be focusing on the VIB network, which is very veteran-owned entrepreneurship eccentric. Like, we really focus on veterans who want to move over into the entrepreneurship realm and sector. And we love to help train, educate, again, and just be this network or be this family for you, because there is a lot that is going on when you decide to start your own company, run your own company. Next slide. Again, veterans are a diverse collection of all types of individuals, made up of all races, creeds, orientations, abilities, and genders. That's what makes our military great, and that's what's going to make you also great. If you decide to become an entrepreneurship, become that big CEO and president of a company, coming out of an organization as a military really gives you a good platform, a good jumpstart on leading, understanding, and I would say it's just mission focus and mission finishing. Next slide. Here's my introduction slide again. Like I said earlier, David Ramil, United States Air Force, fire protection flight from 97 to this last January. Next slide. So here's the, when you come to our website, this is basically what you're gonna see on our homepage. The VIB is a network, is a place where, again, we provide a lot of different resources, just like you kind of saw already early. Opportunity boards, events calendars. Events calendars, what that is going to let you know when there's going to be events that you can actually attend and potentially meet companies, partners, and or suppliers that are looking to hire or work with veteran-owned companies. Corporate advisory board, the directory, in which is open to buyers and suppliers. So the suppliers would be us, buyers would be, you know, the PG&Es, SoCal Gas, and you state all the different buyers throughout the nation. Sometimes we even have the nation, it won't be just California focused. And then library past webinars, and we have a whole bunch of those. Next slide. These are our corporate sponsors. So as you see, we're pretty plugged in into the you know, to the big corporations that operate throughout the nation. PG&E is a big one if you guys haven't seen that. USAA, Comcast, AIG, Lowe's. So what that means is not only do they, you know, support our organization, they also will show up and come to these events and meet entrepreneurs and veteran-owned companies like yourself, so they can potentially build a partnership and a relationship to work together. Next slide. So joining the VIB network is free. So you just go on there, throw your company name. Again, this is, even though you may not have a company and but you're inspiring to be one, we still encourage you to join. It's mostly going to be for those who have already you know, started, but don't hesitate, because sometimes you may just need some more information to get you over that hump to see if this is something you really want to do. And I would tell you is to get that information now more than later, because it can get expensive. Next slide. Podcast. So Corey Vickers, who is an Air Force officer, he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to both the corporate side and veteran side. He has a podcast that he does, and he'll talk to a bunch of, you know, he'll have different hosts from the veteran entrepreneur sector, and really so that we can just discuss and talk about, you know, issues of the day, issues of the year, you know, new things that are developing and things of that nature, which is, you know, all relates to business. Next slide. The VIB network event. So we have our event every year in November, right around 13th, 14th. Sometimes, well, because of the pandemic, we had to change that a little bit, but for the most part, it is right here, November 13th to the 14th. It's going to be in San Diego. Basically, what this event is all of the veterans from across the nation, across the country, all veteran-owned companies will come and just meet, talk about things. You know, again, providing that workshop. Corporate buyers will be there as well, but we can go and pitch to these corporate buyers. And again, just learn about how, you know, being a veteran and being a veteran-owned business owner, how you can kind of plug yourself in, you know, to this industry and to the specific industry that you're interested in, and so on and so on. Again, it's to provide that network, to provide that support for veteran-owned companies. Next slide. That's all I got. I didn't mean to rush, but I know we got time. So if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to the VIB, and my email will be in the chat, I believe. And thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, David, for that. We greatly appreciate you holding on here to presenting all the great resources that VIB has. And also thank you to Calvin for presenting, and Jana as well, and all the great information that we've provided to everyone, from employment to entrepreneurship, and also our great opportunities here within California and our benefits. I'm going to turn it over to Jana for any kind of questions that we might have had that come through to answer. Oh, you're on mute, my dear. Gotcha.
Totally saw that. Thanks. Oh man, can't get it through a whole webinar without doing that. Okay, so there were lots of really great questions, you guys. You guys should all have access to see some of the answers. But some of the questions included things like, you know, can I get the resources? Can I get the slides? I sent all that in the chat, and I'll put it in there again before we exit. One question I wasn't sure about, and maybe David can answer this, or maybe Shuri, actually, you might be able to answer this. Do the DVBE certifications allow for military-based services or products?
So there is a certain criteria when you do procure with a specific military installation. There's depends on the procurement staff over there. So when you are in that process, you would want to contact the military installation on the quality of the product and the requirements of the product or service for that matter. Then you would obtain kind of like clearance and that kind of thing further. It says within the DVBE, you still need to get the SDVOSB or the federal certification, as any of the military installations here within California, they are still considered federal. So you would need to apply for the or the federal certification SDVOSB.
Cool. And then a question for you, David, is VIB only in California or nationwide?
We are headquartered in California, but we do definitely support every nationwide. So our events, we have everybody come from all states. We've had them come from Guam, everywhere. So if you're a veteran, come on out. It's all good.
That's great. And someone had asked to connect with you, David. I saw that you put your contact information in the chat. So thank you for doing that. You guys can always contact us too, if for some reason you lost that contact information, and we can put you into contact with VIB. So that's all the questions I have for right now. Everything else I was pretty much able to answer. So if any come through, I'll let you know, but that's it for now.
Great. Thank you, Jana, and thank you, David, and thank you, Calvin. Some great things just to review with everybody, some upcoming virtual workshops just to let you know. The next one, if you have greatly enjoyed this workshop, will actually be myself and Jana again. We're going to be doing a presentation on veteran legal services and resources. We are partnering with VLI, or the Veterans Legal Institute. So an expert will be on hand from them, or a representative, to provide information. We also have a great number of other workshops coming through. We also included September as we are in the tail end of August here of things coming up. So important for you to just know what's in the pipeline as far as virtual workshops coming up. We did provide a QR code there for you. So if you have your phones, hover your camera right over it and it'll take you to our homepage for CalTAP. So you can register for any one of these webinars or even any of our in-persons, should they be accessible to you to attend in person. But greatly just want to thank you again for your service. Thank you for attending this webinar. These again are our means of contact if you wish to reach out to us again, or follow us, or seek more information out on our socials. But again, appreciate everyone for joining us today, and thank you.